what's up? It's Naseem. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I want to discuss how to master hunger during the fat loss phase. I have been documenting my postpartum weight loss journey a lot here on my channel. I am currently 2 years postpartum, and ever since giving birth to my son, I've lost almost 40 pounds. Just most recently, I entered into a calorie deficit phase where I did a 9-week cut, dropped some serious inches, lost some fat, and still was able to maintain my muscle. So that is going to be a whole separate video. If you are into that sort of thing, health, fitness, I do a lot of beauty stuff, mom content. So if you're into that, feel free to subscribe, join the family. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. First and foremost, I want you to shift your perspective and your mindset around hunger. A lot of times when we experience hunger, immediately our brain goes to thinking that we're in starvation mode. This is a negative thing. This is a bad thing. I need to satisfy my hunger cues. I need to eat something. To be frank, feeling hunger during a fat loss phase is completely normal. In fact, it is actually a good sign that your body is experiencing hunger because you're in a calorie deficit. You're so used to a certain way of eating. Let's say you were eating 2,000 calories and you've dropped your calories down to 1,500 calories. You're obviously going to experience hunger. Experiencing a little bit of like mild hunger throughout the day or at the end of the night is completely normal. It's a good thing. It's actually your body's way of signaling and telling you that some things are happening and you're moving towards the right direction. So I want you to totally shift your perspective and your mindset around hunger into thinking that it's a positive. So instead of thinking that this is a negative thing, I need to satisfy this hunger, I need to do whatever I need to do in order to like silence those hunger cues, I want you to think of it as a positive. Your body is moving in the right direction. It is telling you that it is in a calorie deficit. So obviously you are going to experience a little bit of hunger. Another thing to note here is that that's why it is so important that when you do enter into a calorie deficit, that you have a time frame around it, that you're not just entering into a calorie deficit willy-nilly without no start and end date. You want to make sure that you're entering it in with a purpose, with a timeline, with a goal, because experiencing hunger isn't fun by any means, but it is definitely normal. So you want to know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel so that you can keep going and to surpass those hunger pangs, and knowing that there is a start and an end date to your fat loss phase and to your calorie deficit is going to be super helpful. Number 2 on the list is prioritizing protein. Now, when I did my fat loss phase, I kept my protein high. In fact, I kept it pretty consistent throughout the entire 9-week cut. And I think it's really important to keep your protein high, especially when you are in a fat loss phase, because protein is so satisfying. It's very satiating. It takes your body a long time to digest. So fueling up on things like lean proteins, lean chicken and meats, eggs, cottage cheese, egg whites, Greek yogurt. These are the things that are going to keep you full, keep you a lot more satiated during the day. When I was in my calorie deficit, I kept my protein at around 135 grams of protein because I knew that I was going to be lowering my calories from carbs and fats. So keeping my protein up high helped with not only preserving my muscle, but it also helped me to feel full. I ate a lot of ground beef, lean ground beef. I did a lot of chicken breast. So I just had all those high protein meals and foods in my house at all times. So that way I wasn't second guessing myself. I wasn't grabbing for things that were like snacky things or high in carbs, high in calories. It was already stocked up in my fridge, ready to go, ready for me to grab. High protein foods are gonna keep you fuller for longer and are gonna be critical during your fat loss phase. The third on the list is meal timing. Now, when it comes to your calorie deficit, knowing when your next meal is gonna come and when you're gonna sit down and enjoy that meal is so key, especially when you are lower in calories and nutrients and you're just feeling a little bit more lower energy. It's so critical to know exactly when you're going to be eating throughout the day to keep you going, to keep you feeling sustained. I would eat pretty much at the same times every single day during my fat loss phase. Like I would have my pre-workout, I would train at the same time every morning, and then I would have my post-workout meal, which was my breakfast, and then around 12:30 I would have my lunch. A couple hours later I would have a snack to kind of tide me over until dinner time. And then by dinner time, I wasn't like ravenous or starving. I would sit down, have my dinner, and I would feel pretty satisfied. Granted, I did experience some hunger pangs like very early on in my calorie deficit while I was still adjusting. And so before I would go to bed, it was around 9:30 that I would get in bed. It was several hours after dinner. I would experience some hunger. I'll share with you some tips for that. But for the very first few weeks, like in my calorie deficit, I was still adjusting to the lower calories. So I definitely was a little bit more hungry at nighttime before going to bed. But during the day, I felt very satisfied. I did experience a little bit of slight hunger during the day, but knowing that I was having my meals every couple hours, like spacing them out every 2 to 3 hours, really helped me a lot with my energy levels and just feeling overall satisfied when I was eating a lower calorie diet. The next on my list, it's not necessarily easy, but I would say that it's definitely helpful. It's not always easy to get in a ton of water throughout the day. So I always like to add in electrolytes into my water. I carry this thing around with me all the time. This is a 40-ounce tumbler. I particularly like this brand. This is the Hydro Jug 40-ounce tumbler because it doesn't spill, it's leak proof, and I get to put in my electro powder in here and just kind of shake it up. Drinking water with electrolytes helped me so much early on during my fat loss phase, especially because I am very prone to getting headaches and migraines, and my blood sugar drops throughout the day a lot. And so having like electrolytes added to my water helped me so much with getting in those extra minerals like potassium, magnesium, sodium. I really like my Relight electrolyte powder. I'll leave a link and a discount code to them down below for you to save some money off. But I like it because it does have Redmond real salt, which is mine here in Utah, and I love the taste of the Redmond real salt. So it gives my water some extra flavor, but it also just keeps me hydrated and keeps my blood sugar stable and prevents me from getting headaches. And it helps me to just drink more water throughout the day. Keeps me full, to be honest. Like after my meals, I have to chug water because I'm drinking 2 of these every day. I try and keep my water high to about 100 ounces of water. And so drinking a ton of water during your fat loss phase is going to help you feel full. And also 0-calorie drinks. Like, yes, maybe soda is not the healthiest, but I would drink a lot of, or not a lot, but like, once or twice a week, I would treat myself to a Coke Zero at dinner time. And that also helped me feel full because of the bubbly and that carbonation. So if you want to stick to something that's maybe cleaner, like carbonated water, like Topo Chico or LaCroix or whatever, like those are fine, especially during your fat loss phase, to keep you kind of feeling a little bit fuller, a little bit more satisfied during your meals and after your meals. Try and drink a ton of water, and it has helped me tremendously. And just feeling like overall more hydrated, less headaches. It gets kind of the digestion going, and you just feel lighter overall the next day. This next one is a really good one. I know that a lot of times it's hard when you're prepping meals for your family or prepping snacks or whatever the case may be, you're prepping food for the week. It's really hard to not like pick at the food and like want to keep tasting it and taking bites out of it. And by the end, you're just like, okay, I'm not hungry anymore for my next meal. And so what I tend to do is whenever I'm like cooking dinner or cooking lunch, if I'm like really, really hungry, like I just have this gnawing pain, I'll actually start snacking on carrots. Like I'll snack on like 2 or 3 carrots. I know that they're low calorie, they're super satisfying, they're crunchy, they're fresh, they're straight out of the refrigerator. And it helps with like having something in your mouth and chewing on something that's low calorie, but that's not gonna like break the bank, so to speak, it's just really helpful. So that's another tip, is like chewing on low calorie, high volume foods like snap peas, carrots, green beans, things that have like a crunch to give you that like oral fixation. And there's been like actual research backed behind this as to why we humans like things that are crunchy and that make this loud noise. It like has something to do with our ancestors. There's proven research and studies on this. You can look it up. We like crunchy food. It's something to do with like that sensory experience and with, you know, engaging not only our taste buds, but also with sound and with our hearing. And so it's kind of like we eat with our ears, so to speak. So consuming those crunchy foods while you're cooking helps a lot. So I would urge you to, instead of like when you're prepping food, like keep tasting the actual food you're cooking, is to actually have like a little bag of baby carrots, munch on a handful of those. And by the time you're at like 3 or 4 carrots, they take a long time to chew and to swallow and eat. So like the max that I can have like before my meal is like maybe 5. Like that's like the most that I can do. And then I'm like, okay, I'm done munching on carrots. Like I want to sit down and have my actual food. So I would urge you to try that as like kind of like a pre-meal snack, so to speak, if you are really, really wanting something to munch on while you're prepping for food. My next tip is fiber. Now, we talk a lot about fiber and how it's important to get in fiber, but how do we actually really get fiber into our diet, and why is fiber so important? Well, fiber will keep you full longer, clearly, right? It's just soluble fiber keeps you feeling fuller longer, and the more fiber that you have, the more fuller you'll feel. And the easiest way that I have found to get my fiber in, especially during like a calorie deficit, is through frozen raspberries. Now, I've talked a lot about this on my channel. My go-to is a yogurt parfait bowl. Having like Greek yogurt with frozen raspberries is like my go-to snack. And one serving of frozen raspberries has like 9 grams of fiber. Fiber just, again, takes longer to digest, can help you feel full between meals, but also it just helps with your digestion. So I typically try and consume anywhere between 20 to 25 grams of fiber on a daily basis. Fiber and protein kind of just like go hand in hand. So if you can keep your fiber up, that will really help you feeling satisfied, keeping those hunger cues kind of at bay, especially during the day. The last one that I wanted to throw in here, because I kind of talked about it earlier in the video, was when I'm experiencing hunger pangs, especially at nighttime before bed, is to sip on decaffeinated tea. Chamomile tea is great. It's great for if you're trying to help yourself to kind of wind down, and it helps with sleep. It doesn't have any caffeine, and you just feel kind of overall more satisfied. I feel like when you are having some sort of like a flavored beverage, but that's 0 calories. So I feel like chamomile is a great one. I experienced a lot of hunger at nighttime before going to bed, because there was like that big gap between my last meal, which was around 5:30, which was dinner, and going to bed. And I was going to bed around 9:30, and I would definitely experience like an empty feeling in my stomach, wanting a snack or wanting another meal. But sipping on tea helped me tremendously. You can really sip on any type of flavored tea. Like peppermint tea is great. It helps with digestion. Blood orange tea is another really good one. They sell those at Trader Joe's. I see them a lot. My husband likes those too. So I particularly chose chamomile because it helped me with going to bed. And also like a lemon balm type of tea was also a really helpful one for sleep. Just kind of satisfied that hunger a little bit, at least a little bit more. I hope these tips were helpful. I feel like it's not talked a lot about here on YouTube, but what really helped me to shift my mindset around hunger was listening to other experts in the field, other nutritionists and health and wellness and fitness coaches, and listening to their podcasts. Like, it just dramatically kind of helped me shift my perspective around hunger during the fat loss phase, and also just knowing that my fat loss phase was temporary and that I was going to get out of it and I was going to increase my calories once it was done. just knowing like the start and the end date, knowing that I was making progress and seeing those progress photos, like all of those factors played a huge role in keeping me motivated to finish and cross that finish line. If it's tough, just keep going. Hopefully you'll implement some of these tips and hopefully they'll help you. And stay tuned for my next video, which is going to be talking all about my fat loss journey, the progress that I saw. I'll share with you some footage and pictures, and I'm just so excited for this next phase. I'm finally out of it and I'm able to kind of up my calories slowly and get back into a maintenance phase where I'm able to keep growing those muscles in the gym, and we're going after our dream body here in 2025. So come join me and join this journey, and I'll see you in my next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.